Hi, I'm Corey.
And I'm Megan.
And it's Small Time News.
This is what piqued our interest. Police busted quite the prostitution ring in Bellevue, Washington. The ring hosted primarily white-collar men, mostly because they could afford the $300 an hour price tag on the mostly South Korean prostitutes in upscale apartments across Bellevue.
Several of the men belonged to a secretive network referred to as the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and would post reviews about the prostitutes on a website called the Review Board.
Police initially caught onto the case because of an email from a neighbor in an apartment building who took note of men cruising the hallways while staring at their phones, finally landing before a door that would open before they even knocked.
The specific apartment in question was owned by a man named Donald Mueller. The police didn't have any actual proof of sex being sold out of the building and couldn't arrest Mueller, but they did arrange a meeting with him.
Mueller confirmed suspicions regarding the building when he told officers that his pot business was faltering because of the legalization of marijuana in Washington state.
He saw a new business opportunity in prostitution when a former girlfriend suggested he rent an apartment out for her to work out of. He got $100 for every client seen, while she kept $200. He handled all advertising, screening, and booking of clients.
Mueller laid out the numbers. If he ran 3 different women, each seeing 5 clients per day, he stood to bring in $1,500 per day, or $450,000 per year.
That's a lot of money.
But it's worth noting here that for every $100 he's making, the former girlfriend is bringing in $200, meaning she's making just short of $1 million a year off of this deal.
Obviously, the former girlfriend wanted to work as a prostitute. But Mueller told the officers that the South Korean women he recruited were usually forced into prostitution to pay for either their own debt or the debt of a family member.
Less than 2 weeks after this meeting, police noted ads for Mueller's girls at a new apartment building, less than 5 blocks from the original building.
Prosecutors soon discovered that Mueller and other members of the League had set up multiple agencies serving the hobbyists, as they consider themselves, of the Review Board.
The full-blown investigation into this ring started in April 2015 when King County Sheriff's Detective Luke Hillman went undercover to infiltrate the League.
8 months of investigation, including Hillman's undercover work, brought them to January 2016, where Hillman wore a wire to a League gathering while the prosecutor sat in a car listening in.
All told, 30 people were arrested and charged, including 2 former sex workers turned brothel operators, and 12 brothels were closed down throughout the city.
All 12 South Korean sex workers were told they were free to go, as part of King County's new focus on treating sex workers as victims and only prosecuting those who exploited them.
It's great that King County is no longer treating sex workers as criminals, but we'd like to note that the level of exploitation in sex work would be greatly downsized if prostitution were made legal. At that point, sex work wouldn't be something to be forced into, but rather a job like any other with regulations.
There'd be little reason to traffic or exploit humans for sex if a sex worker was readily available and not considered taboo. But personally, that's just our opinion. What's yours? Tell us in the comments down below. Since we're talking taboo today, let's keep it going. 2 men, one in Arkansas and one in Florida, have been brought up on charges regarding bestiality.
Of course, Florida. In Arkansas, a farm camera caught Everett Lee Compton Jr., 49, placing a bag over a donkey's head and rubbing his pelvis on the donkey's rear. This happened twice, on May 27th and June 4th. The cameras caught Compton with the 2 donkeys again on July 5th and 6th, this time feeding them out of a bread bag and rubbing his pelvis on them.
At least they fed the donkeys the last 2 times. On July 16th, the owner of the donkeys caught Compton on video having some sort of sexual interaction with one of the donkeys.
When confronted by police, Compton initially admitted to feeding the donkeys carrots, but claimed to have not done anything of a sexual nature. When the police told Compton about the pictures, he told the officer that marijuana made him do sick things.
Oh, marijuana's a hell of a drug. So in Florida, this horse owner noticed oil on her horse's rear 3 different times, going way back to April. The 3rd time she noticed the oil, on June 27th, she also noticed a white substance coming from the horse's lady parts.
At this point, the woman installed a camera in the horse's stable. On July 19th, the camera captured footage of 26-year-old Darius Galloway setting up and standing on a folding chair behind the horse, shirtless.
On July 26th, Galloway was spotted by the owner heading to the stables. She immediately called the police. The police found Galloway in the stables with his shirt pulled up high and his pants pulled down low, holding a camera in his hands. Galloway admitted to what he had done with the horse and told the police that he wanted to take the camera home with him.
Oh. ATM, and when you finish your transaction, instead of getting a receipt, you get a note asking for help from someone stuck inside the ATM.
Multiple people were faced with exactly this situation in Corpus Christi, Texas, mid-July. Luckily, one of them flagged down a police officer who was driving by. The note read, "Please help, I'm stuck in here and don't have my phone."
The officer thought that this was perhaps a candid camera-style practical joke, but could hear a faint sound coming from inside the ATM. Apparently, a maintenance worker had come early that morning to fix the locking mechanism on the ATM and was subsequently locked inside the vault room behind the machine. He remained stuck there until nearly 3 p.m. when officers kicked down the door to the room to let him out.
This story's pretty hilarious, but we didn't get nearly as much enjoyment out of it as the officer who responded.
We have a once-in-a-lifetime situation that you'll probably never see or hear about again. He can't call anybody because his phone is in his truck. He's slipping notes through the ATM, through the receipt, where you would get your receipt. And sure enough, we can hear a little voice coming from the machine. So we're all thinking this is a joke, because you'll never see this again in your life, that somebody's stuck in the ATM machine. It was just crazy.
Where's the weirdest place you've ever been trapped?
Tell us in the comments down below.
And if this piqued your interest, give this video a like. If you see something else that piques your interest that you'd like us to talk about, tell us in the comments down below.
If you'd like to hear some small-time news, make sure you click that subscribe button.